Hello, and welcome to another episode of Wheel of Horror, the podcast where two best friends spin a wheel once a week. It chooses the horror film, and they discuss it. Today we're talking about 2020's Host, which was directed by Rob Savage. I'm your co-host, Alec.
I'm Eric, and with us again is Mike Molino. Mike, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yes, and this is a special introduction because Mike, as some of you may have, or know if you've been on Instagram or Twitter at all lately, Mike has taken over as our social media marketing manager. So thank you, Mike. Welcome to the Wheel of Horror family. What's up?
Of course, thank you for having me. I'm excited to see where this goes. Hopefully this will become a lucrative and even more exciting hobby, I guess we'll say.
Yeah, no, it's fun. I mean, I'm not a social media guy at all. So any of the posts over the last couple years has just been me being like, let's see what happens when I post very sporadically and just, to promote the new episodes. But it's good to have somebody that, enjoys social media and can actually follow trends and, like things we were just discussing before the episode. So yeah, man, welcome and thank you again for doing this.
Of course, I'm excited to be part of this journey.
Well, now we're moving on to the past a little bit with 2020's Host.
Is it the host or host?
Host. This is just
This
Host.
is another one. We've had this conversation again. Yeah, don't mess that up.
Yeah, a lot of movies have the host or host or hosting. There's so many movies where if it's a short word.
The inheritance. Like, we've messed up. I've messed up watching the wrong movie. So, didn't do it this time.
No, but we're watching the 2020 Shudder original Host, which was released during COVID, and this is probably the biggest COVID movie, I can think of. I can't think of any other movie that represented COVID in such a distinct way. I mean, can you guys think of any other movie, not even horror?
I mean, that came out in 2020 also? No. But there's an Ari Aster film coming out. I forget what it's called, Hindsight or something, that's supposed to be about COVID. But now we're in 2025. But this coming out in 2020 during it is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, the only other movie I can think of is that movie The Bubble with Judd Apatow did it. It's about, but that movie
right.
sucked.
This movie's fantastic. Can we just say that? This movie is awesome for what it is.
I don't even really remember watching any movies during 2020 or really that whole year, to be quite frank. But when I watched this when it came out, because I was just at home doing nothing, I was like, oh, this looks like fun or whatever. And then, I mean, fun's not really the word I would use, I guess. But it was, fantastic, like you said, for what it was.
Mike, everyone during the pandemic, we watched 90 Day Fiance and Tiger King.
Yeah, that was traumatic enough. So watching this was very stimulating, we'll say.
Yeah, no, so I had heard of this movie, but I'd never seen it. And you had seen it, Mike. When was the first time you saw it?
So I watched it when it came out.
Oh, okay.
Because I have a Shudder account, so I usually try to just watch, sadistically, I try to watch horror movies just whenever I can because I enjoy them. So I just saw that it was new and I was like, oh, wow, that's got 100% rating. But usually they do in the beginning anyways, but I try to just entertain it. And then I watched it. I don't want to say mistakenly, but the first time watching it, not knowing what was going to happen I haven't been afraid of a horror movie in a long time, just because I feel like I'm so desensitized. But this definitely hit a little bit different, we'll say.
It's interesting, too, because this is technically it's a found footage movie, but it's like its own thing. It's like a new subgenre of that subgenre. Because this is found footage.
But it's just a Zoom call.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that movie, Eric, we did, Spree, kind of.
Yes, it reminds me of that too, which is a unique way. Mike, you love that movie. It's about an Uber driver that just live streams his murders.
This is better.
This is way better. This is way better and way for $100,000 budget too. God damn. Yeah.
I know. I watched a video on YouTube about the making of this movie too, and it's pretty interesting. This movie's about COVID, obviously, but it also had to be filmed during COVID, so they had to do this all themselves. The makeup, the girl when she smashes her face, she had to do that makeup herself. So she had a guy on Zoom telling her, okay, now apply this here, do that there. So everything, all of the people that went through intense physical stuff were stunt actors because they're we can't have regular actors doing this by themselves because the directors couldn't be there. So it's just very cool that they were able to pull this off.
And I think a lot of the budget went into like pulley systems for chairs and
Yeah.
the scene with the pool at the end and stuff like that. But you got a sense like they did what they could with $100,000 budget, but they had to be very creative with the restraints and the reality of the situation of COVID, no doubt.
Yeah. No, it was really cool.
Think what made it so appealing to me was the fact that it was so relatable during the time and even now, especially with people still working from home, where when you're watching it, you kind of feel like you're part of the Zoom call itself.
Yeah.
So you're not just watching a movie, it's almost like an immersive experience at the same time because you're only really viewing it as another party in the meeting. So you kind
My job just switched to Teams. My job just switched to Teams, but we were on Zoom for 5 years.
But I mean, it's still kind of the same thing, right? You're having a video meeting and you're only really seeing the person and then whatever's happening on like happening behind them.
Yes, and also what's great about this movie, it's an hour long because that's the length of a meeting slash if you don't have premium, that's the length Zoom gives you for a call.
It's 40 minutes.
It's 40 minutes. Well, I thought it might have been an hour in COVID.
Maybe they scaled it back.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we gotta get money after. Yeah.
It could have been. But yeah, that is I thought that was incredible the way it ended as you see the ticking down of how much time is left. I was like, "Oh my God, what's gonna happen?"
So good, right?
We have 10 minutes left for the call. Yeah, yeah.
And so again, like relatable for the time of what was happening, that it was almost too relatable because, you know, the next day when I had like a meeting, I was almost afraid because it was such a traumatic experience to watch and then have to live it throughout my day to day. Not that I'm doing a seance for like a finance job,
Right.
but having to be on a Zoom call with four other people and kind of being distracted about like seeing what their living room looks like.
Looking in the background for like candles burning out and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
This was the first time I watched this film, and literally I was on Zoom no more than 12 hours later, and I thought the same way. Teams 12 hours later, but like, yeah, it was just like it's crazy how it makes you think.
We're on Zoom right now.
We're on Zoom right now. God, yeah.
And like it makes you think like, oh God, like is something happening behind me while I'm on this? Because I'm not paying attention. I'm not turning around.
Right.
I hope something's happening on behind me.
Yeah, I hope not. Like
I'm in a closet, so I don't. Yeah.
that's even worse.
I know. Yeah. If I feel a hand come out, oh my God, now I'm actually freaking out. All right. All right. So this movie though, so it's short. It's all a Zoom. They filmed a Zoom call basically with a bunch of people, and it's like four girls and a guy, and they're all gonna do a séance, just for fun. Which I just like. I mean, Eric, I don't think you have, right? You've never done a séance ever, right?
No, I have a brain.
Okay, well, don't say that. Maybe Mike's done a séance.
Mike, have you done a séance?
I have not because I also have a brain.
Thank
Okay,
you.
all
You don't do
right.
you don't open the Book of the Dead. Rule
I
number
agree.
one, and
I
rule number
agree.
two, you don't do seances. Period.
But I agree. But I also think like we all went through COVID. I was never that bored.
Well, that's what it was though. Like we were all doing like happy hour things and like playing. What was that trivia crack game? What was
Yeah.
trivia crack or what was it called? Not trivia crack. It was like a
Yeah, it was trivia, crack.
and like there was all kinds of games we would play during COVID. Everyone was playing the same stuff because we needed that human touch.
No, I know, but nobody resorted to seances.
No, and that's what's the coolest part about this movie is the woman they have who does seances always in person says the line, "This is the first time I've done a seance via Zoom," because she owns a business that does seances. Obviously, COVID is hurting her business.
So wait, I have a question though, Eric, about
Yeah.
that specifically. Haley, so like the lead girl, Haley, the first girl we see, she says that she's done this before. Did she mean she's done it with that woman?
With Salem, yeah, she knows Salem. They have their number. She has her number like handy half the
No, I
time.
know she knows her, but so has she done a seance over Zoom before, or she's done it with Salen before?
No one here has done a seance over Zoom. This is early in the pandemic. They're bored. They're drinking. They're probably all out of a job slash working remotely. So they're doing this as a fun Friday night thing because they can't go out to the bars. So they decided to do this. But Salen, who's the seance person who probably owns some kind of psychic shop, said, I've never done this over Zoom, so I want to be very careful. like and like walks them through like don't piss off the people, don't piss off the spirits. One rule number one, and also Haley, I think was her name, right? Says that too. Like, please take this seriously because also be respectful of this woman who's trying to probably keep her business afloat. And then two, she walks them through like the circle. Like we're all on a Zoom call, so if things get weird, picture yourself cutting a rope, like holding hands and cutting a rope or something like that, which I thought was really interesting. And that's what is like triggering these bad spirits because they found a gateway into the seance. I don't know. And it was Zoom,
Yeah.
which I thought was a really cool concept, honestly.
It's very unique because they kind of still they took a very almost overdone type of theme where, you've seen it in Ouija, you've seen it in
The Exorcist.
The Exorcist, where they decide to come up with some idea to get in touch with the beyond, and they do the fuck around and find out method, and then it doesn't end well. So you would think that doing it via Zoom or Teams would be a little bit safer because you're not together, you're not physically touching a board, you're not doing anything where you're being super interactive because you're just doing it through a screen.
But that's what made it worse.
Yes, because at first you think that you kind of have this almost ignorance to it because you think that you're safe from any of the consequences that you normally see in any of the other movies that they do this in, because you're not all physically in the same room together and the energy is different, and you're protected behind a screen, which I think even these days with social media and stuff, a lot of people feel safer acting, saying, doing things behind a screen because they have that kind of imaginary defense,
Totally.
which I think, kind of led up to what the girls ended up doing mistaken. Well, the one girl, I think her name was like
Emma or Gemma or something.
Gemma.
Something like that. But also before this, they're drinking. They're drinking before the seance, and they're
Yep.
saying whenever what's the word astroplane or something. Whenever she says astroplane, you have to drink. So already they're being disrespectful already off the before it even starts.
I forgot about that.
Well, is that disrespectful? What if the ghosts are an alcoholic?
I guarantee. I mean, whatever the percentage is of alive people alcoholics is the same as dead people alcoholics. I'm sure.
Yeah. So why do they care about that? I think they were more offended by what Gemma ultimately does, but I hate to jump ahead, but this was prevalent to what we were just talking about. So everybody, yeah, you're right. They feel comfortable behind their own screens or whatever. But I do want to jump ahead really quick to the end because this pertains to that. At the end, Gemma leaves her apartment and is going to go to her neighbor's house. What if she just took off and ran? Do you think she would have gotten killed in like the streets? Like what do you think would have happened? Because she ultimately goes back into another room where the girl is still tethered or whatever. What would have happened if Gemma didn't?
You think I want to go to a public place in this situation?
Yeah, because what would happen?
But you can't. It's COVID.
You're
Right.
right.
But she was in the street though. Like,
The best part about that is she puts on her mask as if the mask is like gonna protect her. Remember that?
yeah.
It's like, oh, we don't want you getting that last minute COVID before you get killed by a demon. Like,
That's also kind of what the mentality was, right? Like safety first, 6 feet apart. Like, let me put my mask on, even though my friends are getting killed.
oh, that was so funny when she runs outside at the end and puts her mask on. I was like, what is that gonna do?
Yeah. All right, so we'll go back to the beginning then a little bit. But yeah, so they do the seance. This one girl, Haley, is like, "Hey guys, please just like respect this." Salen is her older friend who is the seance woman, and they are all having fun. But then there's one guy, and his name is Teddy, and he gets cut out, or his girlfriend comes over and shuts his screen off or whatever and takes him away. So we don't see Teddy until the end of the movie again.
But one thing he did is share his box that freaked him out as a kid. It was like a
Right.
music box, and he was like, "This is." Everyone had to bring something to the table that like,
A tulpa, they call it.
yeah, to like if they want to speak to their grandma or whatever. So he brought out his grandma's music box that his brother used to scare him with as a kid,
Yeah.
and his wife comes out and starts yelling at him, and he has to sign off right before the seance begins or right after it begins, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that also triggered it because he left and he didn't cut the rope either. I don't know.
Maybe because he does get killed later, so it definitely was still tethered to him or whatever. But yeah, his girlfriend, he's staying with his girlfriend and his parents, and she comes over, blows out the candle, and shuts the laptop, and he's like, "Fuck." So it starts to get a little spooky. Some things are happening. You see a weird light, and you're like, what is that? Is that like part of the ghost or whatever? But it's just a stupid light. And then this was kind of the part that I was like, oh shit, here we go. You hear a knocking, and you're like, well, fuck. And everyone's looking around like, what's going on? And then the Salem woman is just like, oh my God, that's my Uber Eats.
That's my DoorDash. Like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I forgot I had something delivered. It's like, really? How
Yeah.
unprofessional. Like, that's so bad.
That's crazy. You'd think like she would be like, all right, I'll wait till we're done or get this like 2 hours beforehand. But yeah, she's like, I'm gonna order this like, right when we start the seance.
Again, though, that's like a relatable thing for everyone, like how we were talking about before when you're ordering food because you can't go anywhere and you want to have something that's, satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah, I was ordering food like crazy at the start of the
Right.
pandemic. So sure, yeah.
But then that kind of, in a way, was almost a little bit gaslighty because, like, a crying wolf kind of deal where, like, oh, sorry, it was my food that I ordered. But then later on, her internet goes out, which, again, another relatable thing that would happen to us back then and even now. So I think that's what really, like, intrigued me about this movie was the fact that every little detail was so relatable and so common to our everyday lives that, again, like I said, it felt so immersive because we were all really kind of living that day to day like they were, minus the demonic stuff. So it made it even more realistic. Like, oh, I experienced that. Like, oh, I hate when that happens. Or, oh, I order food all the time. And then they just kind of slide in all the demon stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and then this came out in July, late July of 2020. So that's literally 4 months after lockdown. Like that's as relatable as you can get. So agree with you there.
Yeah, it's true. They really did just they turned an Uber Eats delivery into a demon knocking, and you're like, oh my God, but it's nothing. Yeah, so it is very relatable, especially during that time. That's the thing. I wonder if like people 30 years from now, like if Summer were to watch this, Eric, like would she appreciate it?
She'd probably, I mean, maybe be like, this is stupid. Like, what is going on? It's like, no, this is like how it was. Like, we were
Yeah.
all just on Zoom drinking and just like getting Uber deliveries. And
That's the thing. I wonder if this is going to be relatable to like anybody that didn't go through this, you know?
I think that's a good question. We'll see if it stands the test of time. But this is te technically a timepiece too, like just for when it came out.
Yeah. No, it's definitely yeah. So as the seances keeps going, she says, is anybody kind of like reaching out to anybody? And Gemma, the one girl, she starts crying. And she's like, yeah, there was this boy and he was nice to me when I fell and he helped me up and his name was Jack and he killed himself. And she's, you're like, oh Jesus. And you think this is happening to her. And then Saylan's internet cuts out and she drops out of the call. And then Gemma's like, actually, I was just fucking with you guys. And they're like, oh my God, like that's so messed up. And Haley is pissed off. Her attitude is so dry. She's like the only American and she just has this like very no bullshit kind of attitude. And this really pissed her off. You could tell. Yeah, so Gemma didn't take it seriously and was fucking around. And now, she's pissed off. Her friends are all drinking. Gemma's making up ghosts and they lost the seance woman. So it's like, well, this kind of fell apart. Everybody's like, all right, let's just call it a day or whatever. And then they start hearing more knocks, right?
Yeah, it slowly kind of starts to escalate from there because once Salen leaves, I kind of feel like they became unsupervised and they almost lost, like, I guess we'll say their anchor to the whole situation in the first place. So they don't really have a protector or a safety net of someone who like knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
But then they also don't really take it seriously either when she loses connection. They're like, okay, well, I'm gonna hop off. This was fun, whatever. And they kind of don't take, they even continue to, as Eric said before, like kind of disrespect the process. And I think that is what catapults it into what happens for the next, what, like 40 minutes, 30 minutes.
Yeah. This is when all hell breaks loose. Once this happens, I mean, it's just they start hearing all the knocking and it starts off where I think they go up to the attic first. That's the first major thing. They send that one girl who's like, she heard a knock in her attic and she goes up and she puts the selfie stick up and she films it and we see the legs dangling. And that's kind of the first indication that it's Jack. It's this thing that she was talking about because she said that he hung himself and you see a body hanging. And that was freaky. And it's freaky that like, everybody saw it but the girl whose house it is. because she couldn't see what her camera was seeing at the time, but everybody else did. And it's just like, fuck, that's even scarier when they all see it and you don't.
Right. Like that's another thing what I thought was so unique was the point of view that you're watching it from.
Mhm.
So, like we were saying before, when you're on a Teams or a Zoom call, you're kind of really only focusing either on your photo and your video in the bottom right corner or what's happening behind the people you're talking to. Because I'm not looking or focusing on anything that's happening behind me or around me. So that kind of the unawareness of everyone else kind of adds that feeling of, oh, look out behind you, but times four. And you're seeing it in real time and you can see that they're not seeing it either. So I think they put a good like modern twist on that as well.
Yeah. No, it's so true what you said earlier too, just about like how everybody kind of feels safe behind the screen, because even the way that they even go to the attic is that Haley girl, she thinks she hears a knock on her apartment. She walks to the back and then they all hear a knock, but it's coming from that other girl's apartment. So it's just kind of like jumping around. So it really does create this sense of unease with everybody. So you're like, fuck, I thought I was safe. I didn't think it was in here. And then it's in all of your apartments at once. So it's freaky, man. This movie is very uncomfortable. So where does it go from here? We've got all of the girls are still there. The seance woman is gone. They see the ghost legs in the ceiling in the attic, and then I think it just all starts to fall apart, right?
There's so much that happens in the next like 20 minutes. It's like the chairs are pulling girls back, like candles are getting blown out, and I mean there's like multiple things, but it's all like building and building towards the finale, I guess.
The boyfriend's missing. One of their boyfriends is just not in the bedroom anymore.
That's also another thing where, because in the beginning you see that one girl who has to go up into the attic, she's with her dad and her dad's downstairs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But she calls for him, and he didn't answer that.
Right. And that the one guy, he's living with his girlfriend or whatever and her parents. And then that other girl is living with her boyfriend of like 2 months.
It's like, why'd you move in with him?
Yeah, which is also is another thing. I don't know if you guys know anyone who did that, but I do.
People did that. Yeah, big time.
That also kind of, that made you kind of feel safe as the viewer, that they're not alone. Like, okay, well, her dad's downstairs, she's fine. Or, oh, her boyfriend's just in the next room, she's fine. At least she's not alone.
Yeah.
But then you find out that they're all not alone, but like they're with someone that they don't expect to be with.
Ah, see, that's the thing. I like that because it is relatable, but what did those guys do to deserve to die? They had nothing to do with this. Like the dad was downstairs watching fucking whatever, and then he gets killed. I mean, we never hear. Maybe he left or whatever. But the boyfriend, genuinely, he didn't do anything, and he gets murdered. So I was kind of a little bit confused by that. Does the demon just get to kill whoever? Because it's like, well, you unleash me now. I can just go on a killing spree, or can it only kill the people that summoned it?
I mean, to be fair, Laurie Strode's friends and stuff all died, and Michael was just going after her, and they were just casualties of existing or knowing who she was.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
But like obviously it's a little bit different, but I don't know, like maybe just try to make it a little bit more, oh, no one's really safe kind of vibe.
No, I liked it. I always do this though. I always look for like, but that's kind of I don't know about that. But it's true. Like it definitely added something when you see that guy, her boyfriend's body just fall from the ceiling. Like it was great. I loved it.
That made me jump the first time so much because it's not what I expected at all.
Oh no, no. I mean, something had to happen because she's like, "Where's my boyfriend?" So his phone is here. Maybe he went to his brother's, and it's like, no, like he's definitely dead.
I agree. When she said that, I was like, please.
Yeah, he left his phone during COVID and walked to his brother's at night.
You're
Like,
in a
yeah,
400 square foot apartment.
right.
You didn't just disappear.
Yeah, yeah. So his body falls from the roof, and you're like, "Oh my God." And we do so earlier in the movie, we forgot to mention this. Everybody had their weird little COVID backgrounds, like the moon or a beach or whatever. And then this one girl, she makes her own that's like a projection of her walking in the background. So it's like, oh, I've got my little friend back here, and it's her. And so it's on a loop of her walking into the bedroom and putting something on the desk or whatever. And we start seeing that again, and everybody's like, oh my God. And then we see a face smash into the camera and it's all bloody. And they're like, what was that? It's like, oh, she probably dropped her laptop or whatever. But Regina dies. No, Regina's freaking out because her boyfriend's dead. This other girl smashing her face into the thing. Yeah, all hell's breaking loose. So One girl smashing her face. I think people are just dropping off the calls now. Haley's getting pulled into the hallway or whatever. Regina gets killed in the hallway. She gets pulled towards, or she's running to the door, gets pulled back, snaps her neck or whatever. And then Teddy comes back and he's just like, "Ah, what's going on, guys?"
Damn, Jug with the he like comes back with like a clown like marionette thing. And it's like, not now, Teddy. Not now.
And then the one girl that's left, she's like hiding underneath a blanket, which is classic.
Yeah.
She also had to just watch three of her friends die, or not die, but like two of them like go through something which was awful. And then she's stuck watching her friend on that loop still because it just keeps going.
If her like brushing her hair and it's like, where is she?
Yeah, but you already know that you watched her.
Bash her face. Yeah, so it's like it's definitely like giving you goosebumps at this point, and it does a good job of that.
And I think the sequence, Alec, I think was the Haley girl, the main girl, she gets dragged into the hallway behind her. And then that's when the Gemma girl's like, what the hell? I'm gonna go check on her. So then she puts on her mask and leaves.
Right.
But then Teddy's lights go out and he's like, "Oh, I'll go down in the basement and check the box."
Again, like there it was so much chaos. I genuinely don't remember which one happened.
Yeah, no, I mean it's literally 20 minutes of just straight shit going down. But Teddy goes down there. But this was my one time that took me away from the movie. And Alec, maybe you feel the same. Mike, maybe you do. But when we see the face of the guy, and I'm not talking like the Snapchat filter face thing they did.
Oh yeah.
But when you see like the face of the demon or whatever, it's like old Greg. Remember old Greg?
Yes.
I mean, it kind of took me out of the movie. I was like, "What? That's his face?" Like,
I didn't mind that. I hated the Snapchat filter. I hated that Snapchat filter part.
I mean, it's clever. It's clever to be like, if there's a spirit there, would a Snapchat filter pick it up?
No, the mirror or the Shakespeare mask face or whatever. I like that. Not when the girl was turning into like a puppy dog when she's trying to cry.
Oh yeah.
No, I know, but it's just like the chaos of Zoom too. We've all been on Zoom and crazy shit happens, like people's mics cut out and stuff. But like that was and then the face is just standing still, like just staring at like a pillow on the couch, and then it turns, and it's like that was cool. And then she throws flour on the ground and sees the footsteps, gets chased into the bathroom. Someone I think throws a blanket over one of when she felt the presence and the blanket holds and there's all kinds of stuff that happens and it's just hard to differentiate the order. But I remember the kind of climax is Teddy's power goes out. He goes to, after everyone's been like murdered except for like two, he goes to check the basement and is like, you see the demon. And I wasn't a fan of the look of the demon. I was like, it looks like old Greg. And then he runs outside and he sees that music box playing and the lights are out. So he grabs a lighter and then I think his camera goes out for a bit and the camera comes back and it's him just like being ignited and lit on fire and like,
Well, killed his girlfriend too.
oh yeah. And it grabbed Jeannie or whatever his girlfriend's name was, lifted her up, snapped her neck and she drops in the pool and he's like, oh my God. And he doesn't jump in after her. He just runs away. I'm like, okay, good husband.
I mean, would you?
I mean, the neck snap, I guess.
I mean, Eric, she floated like 10 feet in the air. It wasn't like
No, but I guess the neck snap is like, yeah,
Pretty definitive.
yeah, yeah. I guess I'd run at that point
you have
too.
no idea what's going on. This isn't like, oh, she just fell. It's like, no, no, no. She got lifted 10 feet in air. Yeah. And then her next is like, okay, I need to leave her. I'm about to get fucking killed too.
Then grab the dog at least. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would be out so fast.
Where would you go, Mike? If you were in Emma's position,
Oh, right now, like where I'm at right now in my apartment.
yeah, where would you go? Like, let's say it's COVID 2020, this shit's going on. We just did a seance. Where are you running to?
I was in Connecticut at my parents' house during COVID, which is where I watched it. Again, a mistake because I was in a giant empty house.
And you watched it during the pandemic too. That's cool.
Yeah. It was, I mean, almost masochistic, but yes, full effect.
What would you do? What would you do?
I honestly, I would probably, I guess, I like to say that I would be smart in a situation of horror panic, but I don't think I would be.
I would go to the grocery store with a mask and be like, "Where's your toilet paper and paper towels?"
Oh, you mean like if you could make it all the way? I don't even think I would make it to the end of the driveway.
I would run like Forrest Gump. You wouldn't stop me. I would run like I just kept running.
I would maybe, if I had the time, the luxury of if the demon would spare me maybe 10 minutes, I would ask to wait. Like, can you just give me a head start? I would get in my car, maybe go for a last meal somewhere, get a double cheeseburger, and then be like, okay, I'm full now. You can do it.
But would you? But here's the other thing: like all these people kept their Zoom on. You know, you're shutting that Zoom off and throwing your phone out the car.
Oh, yeah. I mean, most of the time I don't want to be on camera to begin with.
I would be like, I want to be as far away from technology as possible because I feel like this thing's coming from Zoom and phones and stuff. That's what I would do.
But then that kind of brings back to Alex's point where it's like the whole, safe behind the screen when you're really not. Like
True.
if it happened right now to us during this
Go
conversation,
to the ER. Go to the ER. You know, the place is pumping with COVID victims.
yeah, I honestly don't know what I would do.
Give me COVID. I would rather be here than freaking the demon. Demon's not going to come here. He doesn't want COVID.
Yeah, I guess, right? I mean, I guess. I mean, just like Gemma did, she put her mask on before she left, so
That was funny. That made me laugh. That actually made me chuckle. I was like, so you just ran out of your house, you're outside, and she puts her mask on, then breaks into her friend's house, like crashes the window, and it was insane. But like that's what the pandemic did to people. It's like if I don't wear my mask, I'm gonna get COVID.
and that's the thing. I think that was also genius of them because it really prioritized being safe at the time.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna ruin the curve if I don't wear my mask while this demon's chasing me. It's like I think you have a good excuse not to wear a mask right now.
I haven't heard the phrase "the curve" in so long.
Well, what was it? It was spread the no, stay home to stop the curve, or what was it? How did they phrase it?
I
I think
forget.
it's Stop the Spread or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really quick though, back to before we get to the finale, that guy actually lit his face on fire.
For the role, he did it.
Yeah. There's no special effects.
Dope.
He's a stunt performer, and the directors were watching him, and they filmed the directors watching him, and yeah, the guy lit his own face on fire for this scene.
How much? How much did he get paid? Like $20, a couple hundred.
Couldn't have been too much.
I do it for like $1,000. I'd be like, I'll light my face on fire with some lighter fluid real quick. For how long?
Uh,
5 seconds. Let's make it quick.
but yeah, and then Ginny is also a stunt performer, and they snapped her neck, but it was all they had a crane that they had to
That must
CGI.
have been the most expensive part of the movie in my mind.
I mean, probably to rent that and then to CGI it out. Yeah. And then also when Emma falls through the wooden table and she dies or whatever, that was all a
Yeah,
CG.
but that's not expensive as the pool scene. But yeah, no, that was cool though when she falls through like the picnic table at the end.
Yeah. So now we're at the finale. Gemma gets into Haley's apartment. What does she see? She finds Haley. Oh, no, no, no. Before that, she just walks in. She's like, Haley, Haley. And she just gets smashed in the head.
Broke her window too. Broke her window to get in. It's like couldn't use the front door.
She gets smashed in the head with a wine bottle.
That made me chuckle for I'm not gonna lie, Mike. That scene also made me like kind of chuckle when like the wine just like slowly hits her.
I mean, that was definitely hilarious because I am a big fan of physical comedy, but the way that they over dramatized it was almost like watching Looney Tunes a little bit.
Yeah, it was like the demon just went and threw the wine bottle.
Yeah, and it was just like plunk, and she did a slow motion fall to the ground. I mean, cinema, right? So whatever.
Yeah, she was able to perfectly pull the camera down with her and have her like perfectly set up. And then you see all the cabinets blow open just all at once. It's great. I mean, it was really cool. I don't know how they did that. It was really cool. So now the final shot of the movie that Haley's alive, Gemma's alive. They're like, oh my God, they have a Polaroid camera. They're using it as a flashlight. The Zoomer TikTok or the Zoomer talk, whatever it is, the countdown clock is going down and they keep flashing it, and then right at the last second, flash ghost, and then it's over.
And it's like your session has expired. To upgrade to premium, pay this amount of money.
Yeah, and I didn't realize when I was watching it that that was the credits. I was like, is the demon like an idiot? Like, what is it doing? Like, I thought it was. I was like, what are they? I was watching it with my girlfriend, and we're just like, the demon just like a fucking idiot. Why is it scrolling so weird? And then yeah, we figured out it's the credits. So yeah,
Great,
Great.
great way to do it. And again, the length of a meeting, you know?
yeah.
So it was exactly an hour.
But it was yeah, very good movie. 99% good on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know about that.
Yeah, let me do the stats while you said that.
That's crazy.
This came out July 30th, 2020, like we said, like less than 4 months after the pandemic started in March, so it's like they must have made this in production in March or April and finished it.
I would like to know, like, did they make it like, okay, COVID's happened, we're stuck in here for whatever, and they only did it, they churned out a movie in 3 months?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was just trying to find creative stuff. Like 56 minutes long. Its budget, like I said, $100,000. It made 450,000. Like Alex said, 99. I don't know if it deserves that, but its Rotten Audience score is 71. I'd give this a 75 to 80, honestly, for creativity, what it is. But yeah, the one gripe I have is the old Greg looking demon. I wish they didn't even show it. I wish they didn't show his face. Really don't. That took me out of it.
Yeah. I mean, and it's also a Shudder original, and I actually didn't hate Skinamarink. You ever seen that one, Mike?
I haven't seen that yet. So I was torn between doing that one because I haven't seen it or watching something that was horrifying that I've already seen.
That one is very strange. And Eric, I think you would like it. I know you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either. Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally as close as you can get to a fever dream as a kid. Like what it's like to be a kid being sick. And it's so hard to explain and so weird. But that's another Shudder original. So Shudder originals are doing fairly well. They've got Creep Show. They've got that, Eric, they have a Creep TV show now. Like that movie Creep. Remember those?
Yep. Yep. Creep like prequel, like his tapes and stuff, which is
Yeah.
great. I'm gonna watch those too, and we should definitely cover that. But right before the podcast, we were talking about this is a great time for horror. They are churning out tons of great horror movies and films, like so many. What did you just see, Alec? Didn't you just see a movie in theaters? It begins with an S. Not Substance. What did you see or going to see?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
What I thought you said the other night. Is Sinners? Was it Sinners?
That's Mike.
Mike, oh, that was you, Mike, who said that. Sorry. Yeah,
Seeing it tomorrow.
yeah, you're going to see it. But like, this is a great time for horror, I think, and it's only getting better. So that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah. And this director of this film's Rob Savage, he made a follow-up film in 2023, which I did see with Joe in theaters, and it was terrible. It's called The Boogeyman, and it's a Stephen King short story that they made into a film. And this guy, after making this movie, host, they're like, hey, let's give him a shot, and they gave him The Boogeyman, and we did cover it, Joe and I did when it came out. It was awful, but hopefully his career doesn't end there because he hasn't made anything since that. But we'll see.
It's kind of like an M. Night Shyamalan kind of thing. Like, you did The Sixth Sense. Let's see what else you got. And he's like, I just made another really The Town or The Village. It's like it's not that good. Boogeyman. So that was really that bad.
It's pretty bad. Joe and I went. It was one of those where they filmed the audience for the commercial. They're like, "This movie's so scary," and it's like Joe and I
I stay away from that now.
yeah. So it was terrible. They gave us free popcorn. We got to see it for free, and it was not good. But I didn't realize that it was this guy that directed it. This is so much better than his follow-up film. But yeah, that's kind of all she wrote from me. Do you guys have any last-minute thoughts on Host?
Everybody drink Astroplane. No, I'm kidding. That's all I have.
Right. No, I mean, I agree. I'd probably give it like an 80 or an 8 out of 10. Again, like you said, for originality, what it was, the production time and the length, the relatableness, if that's a word.
Count it.
Yeah, not like a rewatch kind of top 5 for me, but unique.
I really want my wife to watch this. She will never watch it, but like this is one that's short enough, and I like it's a good one. So I really want to try to not trick her, but like have her watch this one, and she'll hate me for it. But yeah, it's a good scare, but it's fun, but also because of the COVIDness, it's cool.
I haven't seen anything else like it really, except that there's this movie Unfriended or something, I think.
Yeah, I've heard of that too.
But yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'm glad we got to review it.
Well, Mike, thank you very much for joining and for continuing to post all those amazing stories and posts and all. I don't know if they're called posts, I guess. Yeah.
Carousels, Alec. Carousel. No.
Carousels, everything, man. So thank you very much again, Mike, for all that.
Yeah, no, I look forward to having it be, kind of like a takeoff thing where I get to explore my creativity, but also with horror related things.
Hell yeah. Well, guess what time it is?
Are we out of wheel spins?
We are time to spin the wheel.
All right. Spinning. The town that dreaded sundown. Never even heard of it, Alec.
I've never seen it, but it's from the 70s, and if you check out the poster, it looks really cool, and a lot of people like it, and we'll see. We'll see. I've never seen it.
I mean, hey, you had me at cool poster. I'm done. I'm in.
Yeah, look at the original poster. Not, I think they remade it. Don't look at the remake. Oh, but to be clear and have this on record, this is the 1976 version.
I'm gonna watch the wrong one. Yep.
Watch
Heard.
the 76 version. And look at the poster. It's cool. It's based on a true story. Anyways, so hopefully it's good. But everybody, thank you very much for listening into our discussion today on Host, and we will see you next week with The Town That Dreaded Sundown.